Okay. Um, throughout the day, the reason why, first of all, I make videos is because they want us target individuals to get lost into like a falsified reality. Um, I just want to say this: I am a TI. I'm a target individual, and I understand what this means. It means that we are put in this program, and we are human subjects. Um, and as human subjects, most TI get this like extremely sophisticated technology implemented onto us, and we are just guinea pigs. We are guinea pigs. We are human beings being used to develop technology that is extremely sophisticated. I mean, the sophistication of this technology is incredible, and it's almost science fiction. Uh, and unfortunately, this technology is not only applied onto us, men and women, but also children. These people are disturbing, but you gotta understand why they do this. It's for the purpose of improving a technology. They need a lot of samples, which include human samples that are men, women, children, black, white, all races, all ages, in order to improve in this machine learning technology. But um, they do everything possible to counter that reality. And you, as a target individual, they try to vilify you in every way possible when in reality, what they're part of is so disturbing. And they try to block out and counter. You probably just heard some noise, right? As I'm speaking about this. Because they try to isolate the target individual and try to make him or her believe as like a reality that's super falsified. Not only reality of who these people are doing these people doing these things to us, but also who you are as a person. Try to change you. And it's funny how they try to change things so much and try to normalize and be okay. For me, it's so bad in my case of the psyops that they put in front of me, that they even try to counter the people who put me in this program. The people who put me in this program, extremely conservative. I mean, I don't even want to say the name, but let's just say that they have donated money to some of the most conservative ideas you can imagine, to the point of donating money to a pedophile, because he was on the right side of what they were thinking about, the ideology. And so they can't even say the name of this person. His name is Roy Moore. But understand how projected reality they've put onto me. If you go through my videos, you hear the same kind of topics, right? And I don't mind saying the same thing. I heard somebody say that, don't say something if you're not going to be heard. For me, it's like, I don't know who's going to hear me, so I'm going to say it as much as I need to say. And maybe one day one person will hear that, and maybe that will help that person. Because for me, the people who've helped me understand these things and made me strong about who I am, knowing who I am, and not subscribing to these manipulations, is people who maybe not even no longer with us, right? So I understand my impact might be something that helps somebody, and I hope that it does, And so I'm gonna continue to make as many videos as I can until I can. Now, I'm a target individual with what you call V2K and what's the name? Telepathy, synthetic telepathy. So that sounds science fiction, but basically what it means is, one, they have the ability, you can hear people talking to you remotely, and it's because they're using this technology called V2K. Apparently, and of course I learned this the hard way. You'll be surprised the sophistication of the military and this Department of Defense, and what they have available. This thing is actually really old. I mean, really old, like early 90s kind of technology, even before that. And so what this does is, like, you can hear somebody talking to you, but that person is not around you. And it's not like you can hear it in your ears. It just directly can go into your brain. And it sounds crazy, but it's such, like, it's, go look for voice to skull and things like these things exist, and they've been even implemented in like the Gulf War and things like, it's just crazy. And so they have these things, and they do these things to us. And this obviously come from DARPA, Department of Defense, DARPA, entities, right? Matter of fact, as I was speaking about it right now, they were doing something to my leg. Just I felt some pain points, right? Now, I know this is not coming from these doofuses, these dongorons that you saw the videos. I know they might be implementing, doing the pressing button, or, but do I think that these the retards are really the ones in charge? Of course, I know it's not true. They have a role to play, but they are contracted to do what they do. And so these people can do so much to me, including like obviously implement pain points and make me feel pain remotely. And it's not coming from your employer. It's not coming from those people are just contracted to do this. And for me, it's been a psyop of trying to make me believe something else, but a large government is doing these things to me, right? And something else, but my employer, initial employer who put me in this program, who happened to have very strong connection in the governmental. Now, this current employee is just what you call a big time psyop. All they do is go through the scriptures of what they're going to do to me. You're going to be raped, you're going to be tortured, you're going to be framed, and then you're going to be banned. Like, listen, I was told before I started working there on August 19, 2019, they told me to kill myself. I was like, it's over for you, right? They let me know that your life at this point, you're doomed. We have your brain. So apparently, there's another part I need to talk about is synthetic therapy. So at that point, according to what I've heard from other people who are have more expertise and understanding in this technology, is they first of all map your brain first, and then somehow your brain is connected to this supercomputer, and your brain signature is connected to this computer. And once that is done, at this point, you are no longer yourself. They manipulate you to experience whatever they want you to experience, whatever sensation. They can overlay whatever feeling, every sensation. They can manipulate you to have anything, and there's nothing organic happening to you at this point. Everything is something they've made you feel. And they can overlay feelings, emotions, reactions, sensations, thoughts, manipulate your memories. They can do so much. And so, why do they need this? Why are they doing that to so many people around the world? Is because apparently that's at this point, this technology is obviously used as a weapon, but the more samples they have, the more brains they have in this device, this computer, that supercomputer, I think, whatever that is holding this data, the better it gets. It's typical machine learning tactics where the more you have, the better it gets. For example, Google, when you Google search, this algorithm that then pick whatever is going to the best result based on what people end up, like things like that. That's machine learning. Just like what was the Amazon thing that once you speak more and more and more, you recognize your voice better and better. Just like those learning, like face learning, surveillance camera. The more faces they have in their database, the better they are to recognize a face. That's the same kind of concept, but at a level of another sophistication. So that's why there's so many of us in this program. Now, once you put in this program, it seems like they try to create this delusional reality, right? First of all, the delusional reality is also how they try to present themselves as. It's our money. You're gonna pay and then do this and that. They're in the program really doing so many horrible things. Horrible. I'm talking about, it's not even to the horribleness only, but to who they do it. We're talking about children being tortured in this foulest ways. Foulest. I'm talking about suffocating, sexual torture, burning them, blinding them, all kind of horrible things that you couldn't even understand. 3-week-old babies. Things that you don't even, it's even hard to comprehend how the atrocities are just something. But of course, we do respect with the utmost sophisticated technology. I guess it's more civil like that. It's so disturbing. And so I know this, right? So when this trash try to kind of vilify you and try to make you believe, you're like, are you, what? For example, I was on the call with employers and whatnot. And they're like, oh, you abuse, you do this and that. I'm like, first of all, they talk about me as a kid doing the stupid thing I did as a child. And I'm like, do you understand? And when I'm listening to them, listening to what they do to children, it's like, do you not know that I know that what you guys do in this program? And some of them try to distance themselves from being involved in this program, which is the program they're involved in. This program they're involved in are using human subjects of all ages, all genders, all around the world to and do these horrible things to them to get these results that obviously this database is trying to fill to get better. So this trash will make me try to be like, what? My friend, what do you guys do to children? Don't distance yourself anymore now. What do you think? How do you think you're doing this thing to me? You think these people's money with their $1 trillion that do that? You know who's doing this, and why did they contract people like that? Why do you have to make yourself damn near retarded? They then try to find ways to kind of disorient you and say things to try to block out reality. Then it's funny, they like to use words that I've used, absolutely, absolutely. It's like, okay, what do we, I know. I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to disorient me. They want, then what happens is, once you are hooked in this, on this, this device, I don't know if it's a supercomputer or something of that nature, then they start changing you, overlaying you with different ways of perceptions, thoughts, reactions, and really try to change you into somebody you're not. And it's obviously something disturbing, right? They like to focus their tormenting in a way that is pedophilia centric, to break you down and try to make you be acceptive of this pedophilia type of tormenting, to try to get, and then try to make you acceptive of that. And so these people try to get you to be like, no, we know you. That's, it's like, no, you know me and you're trying to change me. That's what's happening. You know who I really am, and your job is to make me acceptive of these things that's happening to me that is not happening to me organically. But you think if you guys like me enough, if you torture me enough, I'm going to be subscriptive to this. You know how they try to counter what I just say? Every time I say guys like me, they say, oh, we're going to gas you, our ether. Okay. And you're gaslighting me while gassing me. You understand? They try to find ways to disorient me, and the way they like to disorient me while they do this manipulation is to talk about some tortures I'm going to experience, as if that's validations. You see this saliva? This is it's not natural. Like, I've been having excess saliva. But I'd rather die like this than having to live like them. Death comes to all of us. This person who tells me how I'm going to suffer and be tortured and raped and then die. I was like, you work for this program that torture, rape, do horrible things to even babies. And then you're going to die. I'd rather take this death. I'll take this death any day before doing what you've done, involve yourself in what you involve yourself, and then try to present yourself as something that you're just like somebody who's here just avenging trash, who's avenging for all these terrible things that's happening to these children, that this program that you're in doing things to them. No, thank you. I'd rather die being tortured, gassed, and ether. And then for me, it's like they keep talking about how they're going to do these horrible things, and I understand they'll do it because the theatrical of what they're trying to present themselves is not something that is subscriptive. You cannot be involved in a program that there's these horrible things to even the babies and be like, oh, no, we're doing that for that. You pay for that. It's like, and you just heard a 7-year-old autistic child being suffocated by this technology that can restrict your lungs. Then they go back into how they manipulate you. Listen, I'm not perfect. I know my imperfection very well. What they try to change you into is to change you into becoming a pedophile. For me, they've been making me having a reaction from the babies, like babies, to the older kids, right? Obviously, when it's the older kids, it's not as bad. Not even older kids, even young adults, right? Which is like, okay, at that point, I don't care. But then try to make you acceptive. Oh, yeah, Robert. They like to say that, like R. Kelly. And the reason why they say his name and not saying the name I can say, which is Roy Moore, is because Roy Moore is somebody that my employer donated money to his campaign, and they have problem to say him. For example, I can hear somebody say that while I'm speaking, right? They find a time when they can say that, but they cannot clearly say his name. Now, for me, that is very specific to my targeting. and I always bring that up as much as I can. I was at this office, and I pretend like I was on the call with this person called Roy Moore, right? And uh, this person turned red. This is an executive person. These perps here, the only time they can have the ability to say it is when I'm not paying attention, or when I'm not sure if they say that or not, right? They're very timid about saying the name of this pedophile, which is Roy Moore. I'm saying, waiting for them to say something via V2K. It's not gonna happen. So the reality is this. So today, like every day, they always try to bring up everything they can to make me subscriptive to be a Roy Moore. And it's not happening. I'm not subscribing to it. They brought up, first of all, you saw that Dongoron thing, some trash next door. They want me to look at her and whatever. I was like, imagine me calling somebody a goofy, and they're like, oh, now you're gonna burn for that. But they're trying to bring up everything they've done to me, where they want me to be like, you see how you looked at this person, how old is she? Like they everything they can to make me subscribe. Because what's happening today, man? These babies of all ages, from the little ones to the older kids, to the mid-teen kids, to all kind of babies. To the point when I go out to the train station, there's all these little teenager kids, this little like, and they walk in these little ways, try to like. Apparently, that's how they think women walk, and they try to be like womanly. I'm like, ugh. But as much I'm like, ugh, my brain is hooked to this device, and they can make me experience things that I would never experience naturally. Meaning that my perception of this little teenage kid that walks in this way, not in a sexual way. I'm talking about like little 12-year-old, 13-year-old babies, like ugh. And they try to want to make themselves they like to do something with their hair. Apparently, that's what really that's what gets me going. The hair, and I was like, ugh. But as much as, like I said, as much as I'm like disturbed, at the same time, my brain is there, so they can make me have a reaction, a sensation, a stimulations that I would never have that naturally. I will never. So that's the things they do, and then they were bringing up all the things in my videos. If you go through my thousands of videos, you'll see the exact same thing I've been talking about since 2020. They made me look at kids in all different disturbing ways. And sometimes they're not even kids, they're like young adults. But now, what's happening is, because when somebody is like in their early 20s, they can make me believe that they're teenage kids. Because at this point of my age, in my mid to late 30s, some of these like even late 20s, to me is like, I'm kind of not sure how old they are. Right? It's becoming like a little bit, because, we all know that there are kids that look like they're 30 when they're just kids. Right? There's like people who look older than their age. And so that's the case. But they don't even like, at this point, they want you to like, even if you think that somebody it looks like an adult, is not an adult, they try to create this like back and forth. But I'm getting stimulation on babies. So I'm like, this person who can pass for an adult, then it's nothing. You do that to like a 10-year-old or a 12-year-old, 13, I can see a mile away that's a kid. But my brain is they try to like create something. You know how many kids like this little kid? I'm in the neighborhood, and I'm not perfect. And in this neighborhood, there's a bunch of kids of certain like ethnicities. There's people here from a special ethnicity, not special, it's a different ethnicity. And I'm like, do you think that when I imagine about this ethnicity, I'm thinking about this little 13-year-old little things, like this little nothingness? Like, I don't want to say where, but it's like nobody, like, trust me, that's not what somebody thinks about when they, it's like this little nothing, actually, you make me detest that, not detest, but you kind of ruin the way I would perceive women from this ethnicity, because all I see is just like this little nasty, disturbing things that kind of ruin these things for me. It's nasty, and they can force me to look at them in every way. It's so quick though, like I can just glance quickly, whoop, and I get like a perception that's crazy. And they want me to. They bring up all of that. It's so disturbing. So they're bringing that up, and try to put together this false persona of things they've manipulated me to experience. Now, mind you, they do that to little babies. No, the little black girls think that's what they say. Oh, you mapped it to what you when you were a kid. That's nasty. That's what you guys do. But the older kids, like teenage kids, as I'm saying that, they like because they can try to make me perceive them like the way I'll perceive a woman, right? That's how they'll try to make me look at a kid that is like a teenager to make me look at her in a sexual way. Look, this it doesn't take much. It takes very little for them to create that perception in my mind. That's why I record what I do. Because reality is like, this, look at you. But in my brain, they can do everything. And these kids know that. They know that. They know the capability of this technology that can do so much to your brain. Everybody knows that. But they try to think that, oh, if we're going to act accordingly, he's going to believe us. He's going to believe this is naturally happening. He's going to identify to this instead of the reality of this trash are forcing men and women to look at kids in these ways. What should happen to people who do these things? They are trying to delude themselves that I'm not going to see that, which is not the... And these entities that are truly running this program actually have problem with pedophiles. I know these bottom feeders are what they're supposed to do. They're contracted to sell this fantasy and make you subscribe to this. Listen, I know my time is limited, very limited like everybody else, but mine is even more limited. And I would not want to leave this place without saying what I need to say. Maybe nobody's going to hear this. Maybe some people are going to hear this, but I will do my part. The rest is for God to do what he needs to do. And please, let me say this. This is a horrible thing that's happening to us, Target Vigil. I understand it gives us some dignity because you see how some people has to stoop to a level, have to go down to a level. It's humiliating. Look at all the things you've done in your life, and look at you now, having to dumb yourself down to that level. I'm not perfect, but can you imagine now you have to make yourself this much of an idiot? And everything you try to make it seem like you're doing it for is fraudulent as hell. So the reality is the benefits are something else. Because you know who's the threats. You actually end up working for a program that's run by them. For me, you have to manipulate and fabricate a threat. You have to create some falsification of reality while the reality is just in your face and you can't do nothing about it. They will try to bring whatever they can. For example, they were bringing up, and this is like a young adult. She's like maybe 20 something, right? She had her baby. They were trying. Listen how stupid it gets. I remember coming here, this place, looking at this apartment. It was like maybe 2, 3 in the afternoon, right? Early afternoon. And so I'm coming to see the apartment, and I see some young person. I'm not looking at her, and a grandmother holding a baby. And I look away at first. I'm like, oh, it's probably like a teenage kid. I don't want to look, even though it's like kind of early for a teenager. But I'm like, it's probably like some teenage kid. And then I look back and I see, okay, she's holding a baby. I see the person next to her is like a grandmother. It's impossible that this grandmother is the mother of this baby. She's a little bit, she's like mid to late 50s, right? Maybe early 60s. So no way this woman is this older woman is the mother of this baby. So, and this person most likely is the mother. And when I look at her, it's like, okay, you can actually look like you a young adult. I mean, between like 19 to 23 years old, something like that, right? And she's holding her baby. She walks, and as she walks, I look at her, and of course they try to make me look at her butt, and I'm like, listen, I'm not perfect. Have I looked at a woman in a sexual way? Many times. Target individuals, I will not be here making myself appear like I'm not somebody who have looked or have been looking at women in sexual ways. Of course I have. Of course. A lot of times. I'm not here to present myself as a saint. I know myself very well. A lot. Please be clear. My imperfection, I know them. And so I see her, and let's just say she's somewhat voluptuous, but in a, I'm not here to judge this person. But they start creating something. I'm like, oh, whatever. As long as she's like a young, like an adult, right? If she's a young adult, she's an adult. It's okay, whatever. If I don't want to say what I really want to say, but let's just say that I'm okay. I'll be okay. Not to say that I'm better than her, Well, I'm better than her because she's involved in this program, but I'm not better than her in regard physically, for that, based on her appearance. But let's just say that, yeah, I'm okay. I'll strong pass, but they still give me a stimulation. I was like, okay, whatever. She's a young adult. She's an adult, whatever. And then I see her just like going to see somebody and showing the baby to this older man. I'm like, wow. At first, I was like, this is the father of the baby. It's like this man is like at least 20 years older than this woman. It's like, wow, yeah, they worry about me. Look at this, what's going on here. This is like a 20 to, it was like, it looked like a 45-year-old man. And I remember saying like, look at the reality. If this is the father of this baby, look at this girl is probably like 21, 22. This man is like 45 or something. I'm like, that's the reality of things. But then they try to bring me up. It's like, oh, you see how you look. It's like, listen, her. It's just, as long as you guys do that to babies, this is like a little 13, 14-year-old. They can't trying to make me look at her in a sexual way. They to the point that they'll make me think of like a porn star and try to change that porn star into this kid, to train my brain to try to look at this kid in a sexual way. That's how hard it was. They play with your brain. I'm like, you can do this. If you can do that to the babies, you can do that to the older people. Like, this is somebody, based on what I'm seeing. Now, mind you, I'm not, I'm not a freaking, I mean, like, I'm not a scanner. I'm not, look at the, like, I give her 21, 22. And it's funny, she had like a small, like, purse backpack. It's not like an actual backpack. Like, those backpacks that you can put with just a wallet in. And she has a backpack. High school. And they go into the little fantasies like, oh, whatever. This retards. They can't even say Roy Moore. I remember one time, and they brought this up because I think they wanted this battle. I remember I was going to the laundromat. Listen how disturbing it was. I see two people talking. One looks much younger. I'm guessing very like late teen. One is a grown woman, maybe my age, a little bit like 3-4 years older than me. And I'm like, I look away from this person, the younger person, because I know they want me to get some stimulation. And I see her just grabbing her pants, right, her yoga pants, and pulling those pants up, in order to create something. You understand what I'm trying to say? She was like pulling that up. And I'm like, you're disturbing trash. Because they want me to kind of perceive her in a sexual way. These people are disgusting. This is the trash that this is supposed to protect our kids, our young girls. So nasty. These people are foul. Pulling her yoga pants out, just like. This is the things, and they talk to me how they're gonna frame it. It's like, yeah, I know you guys are foul piece of trash, and you even sell your children in these ways. It's so nasty. They're doing their best to force me to accept these things, and to the point that even young adults now is like part. It's even that just because they can make me believe anything. Listen, if I see a 22-year-old right now, it'll be hard for me to guess like she's 20. Like I'll think she's maybe a teenager. Sometimes I have pictures because I know they can mess with me. And immediately, this is how disturbing it is. Immediately, if I find out this person is an adult, they stop their stimulations. It's like it ends. Like I'm normal again. Like, oh gosh. Oof. Now what I do sometimes is like, okay, somebody's like 28 years old. In my brain, they can make it even look like she's like 17. I go and have like pictures of all like people who was like between 20 to 28, and I'm like, oh my gosh, if any of these people I saw, I'll get some kind of reaction. I'll get some kind of stimulation just because they can make me think that these people are underage. And once they make me think those people are underage, they're gonna force me to get stimulations and be like, oh, you see, we caught you. Girls. It's like, no. Anybody who looks young, especially if they look like they can be kids, teenage kids, stimulations. Sometimes it's like I'm normal, and then somebody says, they say their age and stimulations. I get reactions on things that they force me to get, perceptions and everything. Whatever they want, I can react the way they want it. And I can feel the fake stuff. I can feel it. It's like, because what they've done before is also try to do this, where to confuse me, they make me feel this reaction, this force reaction toward women, right? They are totally actual women, and make me have this perception, stimulation that I will never have, right? In regard of like the fake stuff, but naturally I will have some kind of reaction to them, because they are women and they're good-looking women. But because they want to be like, we matched, they make me have this same reaction they have me toward these little kids or these teenage kids, to a woman who I would definitely find myself interested in her. But they say, oh, we matched, you see. They do this kind of games. I'm like, I know, I can tell every time it's fake, from actual women to kids. So they can trick you into be like, you see how we mapped it, we matched it, and they use these retards that's supposed to make me subscriptive of this. Target individual for me has been a constant ways of trying to make me acceptive of this. Now I understand I'm not subscribing to that. They know I'm not subscribing to this. So what do you think is going to happen? These people who try to present themselves as everything but this large government that is torturing women and men and children around the world by entities who happen to have a lot of pedophiles in these agencies. They're going to try to be as torturous as they can in order to counter the reality. You know what they're saying? Oh, they're going to rape me. It's like, oh my gosh, you can't even say Roy Moore. I'd rather get raped and die. I couldn't live the life that these people live. Their job is to try to counter reality. That's life for them. To maintain this distorted reality. And they love that because they love to think that they're winners by doing that. Because, unfortunately, I know the reality. I can never have a normal thought. Everything now I'm having is manipulated. And they use these losers in the sense that they will see this as like a victory. It's like, what? We are using government technology that can do so much to the brain, and this is winning? Of course, we're doing this. We're applying this on civilians that can do nothing about anything. Yes, it's just a matter of time. There's no winning. It's just he's going to react the way we want him to react. We're going to make her react the way she needs to react because we want her to react this way. They vilify women with children, the most innocent people. Like you can't even comprehend. How can you vilify a person like that? Yes, they do that. So for me, who's not like a defenseless woman and have children and been in this community for years and you understand, it's so much more easy to do this versus like these women who have been in a community for decades, raised children in that community, and also then they put in this program, and now everybody around them are doing horrible things to her, neighbors, people that she knows for years. So you understand, there's nothing we can do about this because we are just civilians. And yes, they contract this trash next door that are civilians or whoever that's doing this thing to you, but they're contracted and they're not using their resources. They're not, it's the government running this. They're just contracting them to do their part because they're going to have interaction with us. But they're going to contract as many people around you, involve as many people as around you to create this ecosystem while using this technology that is extremely, extremely sophisticated. Damn near like science fiction. To the point that we start thinking this is something like demonic from a different world of an alien of some sort or some spiritual beings and all kind of everything, but the reality that this is a program run by the government that's been implementing this extremely sophisticated technology onto civilians to keep developing it. But with that being said, I still believe in God. Of course, this is spiritual in a different way. It's spiritual that even though this is made by men, by human beings, there's a spiritual aspect of it because you find yourself being in such a righteous space. You're not perfect. I'm not perfect. We all have our imperfection. But you are not doing these nasty things that are so nasty to the point that they try to make you be stimulated toward children. And this coming from normal people. I mean, people, everyday people. And they have normalized that. And then even after the reality of, by the way, these entities that are running this program, bunch of pedos in these agencies. Oh, by the way, they torture children, babies. Oh yeah, they do the pedophilia for torture. They try to normalize that. And you become the only one to realize how disturbing these people are. And thankful to God that I'm thankful that I didn't have to dumb myself down to this level. To normalize and to cope with the reality of what I'm part of. Target individual, I know they're doing things to my throat, to my voice box, but this is how I'd rather say my last words. Those words are words that I want to leave before I die. This is how I'd rather go. Then doing these nasty things to the people, doing these foul things, try to work day in and day out to manipulate somebody to think in this disturbing way, and then somehow die to be determined how. To all my target individuals, stay strong and know that justice will be done for the nasty things they do. They're just trash. You've seen the videos. You see how these blood and tears are. This low life just try to counter reality by any cost. They're living the little fantasies of, no, it's our rape. We're different. We're the trash. They're here killing women and raping them till they kill themselves. Try to live this fantasy. They're humiliated. Justice will be done for this trash. For what they've done. Trash will even say Roy Moore. But excited about my torture and my death, as if it's going to embellish their body, their life any better. Trash, you're still working for this entity that's killing and torturing children and women. To all my target individuals, stay strong and know that they will be done. The justice will be done for the nasty things they do to us.